Hello, welcome to the Trade Ideas live trading room recap for Monday, July the 27th. My name is Barry Ainerson. I'm the moderator of our room. This is the address to get in, and you can log in with your Facebook or your Twitter account. All right, let me bring up the first chart of what I did today. Now, we got up this morning and we found out that China was down 8%. So obviously it was going to put a lot of pressure on our market, and that's exactly what it did. The market's been down most of the day. I actually found it kind of a boring day. There were some, I know some of the guys in the room were trading Tiva and a couple other ones, but I do expect it to really pick up for the balance of the week. I think on Wednesday and Thursday, there's just a huge number of earnings. I think Twitter is Tuesday afternoon after the market closes, so that's always going to be of interest. I think Tesla is sometime this week also. So I do expect it to really pick up, toward by Wednesday. Tomorrow also, but I think Wednesday and Thursday we're going to see a ton of earnings plays. All right, MNOV, this one, and here is where it closed on Friday, and you can see the early morning pop, and this was something to do with it's a biotech, of course, and I think it had I don't know if it was a phase 3 study but whatever it was, the news was good initially because look how it just tailed off for the rest of the day. We're going to be looking, of course, for the next ITEK, which just was incredible last week, but this wasn't it for sure. So I took the trade when let's see now, bought right here at, I should move this over. I think what happens is I put these things in a little earlier and then they kind of shift over. But anyway, I bought here at 502. Once it broke through $5, sold some here at 514, and I sold the balance at 527. Very quick trades. These are 5-minute candles. This is the opening. This is the opening candle, and then so I was out within 10 minutes. And it just really did nothing afterwards. Kind of disappointing. I think a lot of us were looking at this candle right there, thinking maybe that was the end of the pullback, and maybe it would continue, but it's really done nothing since then. The next one was, no, that's right, I've got to go and bring it up. So COF. Here we go, COF. A little harder to see. Now here is, again, where it traded on Thursday. This is when it had just a collapse from $90 all the way down through here. So this was all Friday's action, and it just got beat up horribly. I know, again, guys in the room shorted the heck out of these things, but I was looking at it as a bounce play. Again, it was on my best 10 list. You see it right, 1, 2, 3, 4. Sorry, 4 down from the top. COF. So it was something that I was definitely going to be following. And unfortunately, I did get shaken out of it. I got into the trade at 78.45 as it broke up through here. And I sold some at 78.66, and I don't have it marked here, but the balance basically was at the break, I think was a little under the 78.45. And it shook me out. This red bar right there basically just kind of shook me out because then it really had a nice pop after that, but got to obey my stop. So got out of that one. The next one was Najimo. Yeah, this was no, that's right. Just 1 second. I want to get rid of that. I forgot. See, I marked these up earlier, and here we go. Now, just so you know how, if you want to do the same, not necessarily mark them up, but again, with the charts, if you don't, here's the symbol linking right there. So what I, of course, have done is I have unchecked it so that when I look at, so when I start clicking on Trade Ideas symbols in my alert windows, this is not going to change because it is not symbol linked. So that's how I do this. I basically just uncheck the symbol linking, then I can mark them up, and then I just basically minimize it, and then I can bring them back for this video. So GMO. Now, GMO was, and I wanted to bring in the 15-minute chart on this one because if you're in the room at all, you're going to hear us talking a lot about this red bar and green bar ignored, and this is a pretty good example of it. Now, here was all the action before the mark. This was on the action on Friday, and here's where it opened. Right here at 9:30. So here's where it opened, and you see how it popped up. So when I looked at this, I'm looking at something that's got a nice gap to fill. I mean, there's 2130. I mean, I'm not saying it's going to get up there, but I mean, your expectation is at any rate, there's nothing on the chart that may stop it. So I was looking at this, and what we see here, this is on a 15-minute chart, is what we're calling a red bar ignored. So here is the strength, here's the trend, the green bar. You take a look at this little red bar here, so it looks like it wants to be sold off, but then the next bar is green. So it's almost like you're saying, okay, you know what? The sellers tried to take over, but they couldn't drive it down. And it wasn't, and the fact that it wasn't like a giant red bar, it was fairly contained. Basically allowed me to take the trade. Let's get back to the 5-minute charts. I took the trade at 2740. So I took the trade right here, 2740. I'm sorry. I guess what happens is as the day progresses, these candles they're not the my annotation of the data of the text is not staying where I want it to. Anyway, you can see right here. Refers to this candle. Took the trade at 2740. Actually said in the room. You see how it got up to about 2764. And I said I didn't want to scalp it. But in this particular case, I should have, because then this red bar right there shook me out. And I ended up selling right here in this area at 2734. So from 2740 down to 2734. So I took a loss on that. But I decided to keep watching it. And when it broke over this area again, which is, and this is, I don't want to call it a bug, but we definitely have to address this, because you see what I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to see what the price is right. Here's that little dotted line. I'm trying to see what the price is, but the volume covers it up. So we have to work on that. Somehow I have to be able to see what the price is when the volume is or in this price, I'm sorry, not the volume, but when the last price is covering up what I'm trying to see here. But anyway, so took the trade, decided to wait on a little bit, and I got into the trade again at 2766 right there. So 2766 on that candle, and this time I got out of it. I sold at 2789, and so basically recouped the little loss that I had here, and it's really done nothing since then. So not saying this was, but you see, I hope you understand why I was a little bit excited to take this trade, because it had all this area that in theory, had the market been a little bit better, it may have continued on upwards. So it just didn't do that. And the last one, and I know I don't have this marked up, so I'm just going to bring in, I'm going to no, I'm going to do this, NYMX. Okay, actually I'm going to get on 5-minute chart. Okay. Now, I don't have it marked up. This one, obviously, I mean, here's where it closed on Friday, and it just had an enormous pre-market. And now the news they had was phase 3 results being approved. Now, the only problem is that there are a couple of skeptics, shall we call them, who said, well, it's interesting that they had a couple other phase 3 uh, not approved maybe a few weeks or months ago. I mean, I don't follow this at all. And so they were wondering, well, now what did they do? Just sort of re-release the data with some changes in it, and now it is approved. So there is a little bit of skepticism around this one, and you can see, I mean, it had the massive pop up. But let me tell you, when phase 3 is accepted, usually these things will just continue to go. So you see how it pulled back, came up, pulled back again. So I started watching this again right at the 3 level. See, this is what I mean when I'd like to be able to see that 3. And I actually said in the room that I would take the trade around 306. If it, you see how it popped up 306 a couple of times, came back down. On this candle here, I actually got into the trade at 305, and the high of the day right here is 325, and I just said, I got to, I just didn't trust it. I mean, it didn't have the same feel as that iTech of last week. Basically, I actually said in the room that I thought if it could pop through 3 with any anything at all, that it could just scream at least up to this area and just keep going. But it just didn't seem to have that same oomph to it. So I actually exited the trade, some of the trade right here at 315, and the balance in this area for a small loss on the 305 buy. But I guess I will watch it. If I bring up a daily on it, oops, that's a 60 minute. Just bring up a daily on it and see if we can see anything. Um, yeah. So over here we got 526, 419 in this area. So I mean there is room, obviously, if it wants to go. I just don't know enough about this. If this news is really legitimate. I mean, I'm not trying to call the company a liar or anything like that, but it hasn't been greeted as normal phase three final test results get greeted. This should have, in my opinion, just kept going and going. All right, so that is it. One thing, excuse me. Dan came in the room and mentioned horizontal lines. Again, uh, I think on the beta on our website now, you can download it, and it's just very simple. Insert a horizontal line. So let me back up. Where you would say you wanted a horizontal line right there at 210. So you just get to 210, put your horizontal line in. Now, it's not a big deal right now, but I think again, what will happen is you could put a horizontal line there, and then if the price hit it, eventually, not right now, I know not right now, but eventually we'll have alerts set up with InTrade Ideas to show you that's what's happened. So this is coming, and I understand even Dan mentioned that the VWAP would be added as an indicator. I know he wants to keep these charts very clean and not add a lot of indicators, but I guess there are people who want to see that VWAP. So I think he came in the room and he said that that would be added. So it's pretty cool. I mean, when he brought the charts out last week, and already we're starting to add little bits and pieces to make the charts really fantastic for everybody to use. Okay, that is it for today. Let me just, well, I don't have to bring it back because it's right here. Here we go. Okay, here's the address to get into our room, and you can log in with your Facebook or your Twitter account, and I hope to see you in our trading room tomorrow.